happy rainy Wednesday. Hope you're doing great and staying dry. Today is day 3 of my 15 days of distilling down after months of listening and researching and learning. 15 things that I really think need to remain a priority. Stay on the front burner of what the next municipal government continues to focus on. So day 1, I talked about active transportation. You can go back and watch that. Yesterday, I talked about St. Stephen being a place for seniors. And today, coming fresh off the heels of a really great day yesterday at the youth center with the Boys and Girls Club, the staff there, and a room full of young people, which was so encouraging, them wanting to talk to the mayoral candidates about their future, about priorities. This is something that I was prepared to answer about on the Meet the Candidates event last Saturday. And so I'm bringing it to you here because it wasn't asked. But St. Stephen needs to be a place for youth and families. And that means an emphasis and a focus and a prioritizing of recreational programs and recreational facilities. Now, you might think, well, that's interesting. In the age of so many important things like healthcare and roads and clean water and, again, doctors, nurses, you name it, recreation, that sounds kind of frivolous. Well, you might be interested to know that, for example, safety being a priority. When you look at our $14-15 million budget as a municipality, that's all the revenue that comes in, 4 million of that is related to safety, policing and fire services and that kind of thing. And the second highest or second largest budget item is recreation. Now that includes our Garcelon Civic Center, but that also includes the pools, the staff, the programs, the fields, the parks, and things like that. That absolutely reflects the importance of continuing to keep that as a priority in the municipal district of St. Stephen. I got to say, I moved here in 2018 because my family were being priced out of Toronto. My wife and I got our master's degrees. We are not from Toronto. We went there to attend school. I'm from Ottawa. We had 2 young kids. We were renting the top 2 floors of a house. The landlady lived in the basement. And we just started looking at things and saying, with the runaway cost of houses and how we need to work days, weekends, evenings, we had 2 kids. We're not enjoying them. We don't have any time for leisure activities, really, because we're always working or passing off the kids and not seeing each other as a married couple. And that's when we started looking at where can we live anywhere in Canada. In fact, we lived in Korea and we had said, should we even try living overseas in another country? We had friends who had recently moved to St. Stephen, more like acquaintance friends, didn't really know them well, but they reached out and said, heard you're looking to move. We moved to a beautiful little place here on the East Coast called St. Stephen. Checked it out, loved it, moved here, long story short. And one of the first things that we received in the mail, we moved here in fall of 2018, but early 2019, was the like a little brochure, you could say, a pamphlet, an info paper, like a bulletin. It was like a little booklet that had all of the programs and services that would serve during the summer. So summer programs, activities, and we just looked at that, and that was the moment we knew we had moved to the right place with 2 young kids that we wanted to enjoy and actually enroll in activities to enjoy our community and to spend time with them doing those fun activities and with each other. Again, everything we could not do in Toronto, we moved here for that. And that, I don't know, it just felt like a confirmation, that little piece of paper saying, look at all of the incredible service providers. Some were municipal programs, some were just events and activities from businesses and nonprofits and charities that were putting on summer camps. There were, swim events and sporting events and arts events and music events and things like that. And that is the kind of thing, that kind of recreational emphasis, friends, is what, we use when we talk about Future St. Stephen, the economic development agency of the municipal district. We talk about the importance of population retention. We use, words like that. That just means when you live here, you want to stay here. As somebody with now, my two kids are 11 and 13, going into high school. My daughter is in the bronze medallion swimming program. My son is in the swimming program. They have been enrolled in sports and music activities. There are so many amazing people doing incredible things throughout our community. And the municipality really has two, I think, important functions there. The first is to continue to fund and support those programs as a partner wherever it's appropriate. I'm always conscious of the fact that as the taxpayer, the property taxpayer, the ones who fund the municipality, there does need to be some frugality there. There needs to be stewarding of those tax dollars and making sure that everything we do is an investment. You never want to spend money on something that is not going to have some sort of long-term return. And so when you think about youth and families, yesterday, again, talking to those young people at the youth center, they talked about, not having anything to do around town adversely affects their mental health. They said that. And that is why when we have something like the skate park, for example, in a place that is accessible downtown and contributes to active transportation and activity in the downtown, this is really important. You have a place like Chocolate Park, families, little kids. I used to bring my kids there, the splash pad. These are not small things. These are important things for people who live here say, I want to stay here, and for people who are visiting here the way that I did in 2018 with my wife say, I can see a future here. And I keep tying this back to why this is important. If a municipality like ours sees the population shrinking, people moving away and not staying, what you have then is either a higher tax burden to keep what we have, fewer people paying for the infrastructure means taxes need to go up to sustain that level of service and infrastructure, or we actually start deleting service and infrastructure. Can you imagine closing the Garcelon Civic Center, closing the splash pad, closing certain parks or not maintaining them, right? So that's the bleak vision. And of course, the hopeful vision is we retain people we have. Youth feel like they have things to do here, so we're supporting programs, we're supporting fields. When we build a field, we make sure it's regulation size so we can have actually tournaments here and championships here. We want to make sure that when we do something, we do it right. We want to make sure that, for example, we have partnerships with the schools so we can use their programs, their fields, their infrastructure. We want to make sure, for example, that we communicate. I did say two things. First, as a funding partner, but then the municipality also can communicate these things really well. I understand that paper brochure that I got in 2019 was discontinued because of the cost. This is kind of part of a larger communication piece that kind of fell off the table for the municipality when that council just believed that communication wasn't as important as other things. Obviously, as a mayor who is hyper concerned with communication, has been demonstrating for the last 88 days, coming on here, explaining meetings, what happened, what's going to happen, what happened. I want to be a mayor who's active and communicating, and I really believe that if we have businesses, nonprofits, private, whether it's yoga or fencing or tennis or swimming, we want to see people know what's going on in our town, because if people don't know what's happening, then you're not going to get the enrollment, and then these things can't continue. So communication is an incredibly important piece to the puzzle of not just offering the things, but also making sure people know about them. So, when I think about recreation and you think about recreation, it is, like I say, the second highest budget item. The Garcelon Civic Center is an absolute gem. One of the reasons that I moved here, I saw that place, I was so impressed. Like I say, my kids have been using the swimming program there for years. I use the fitness center. I do see youth in there when I'm working out, the walking track. and all the programs that come out of that program, the swim team, etc. And then the lifeguarding. It kind of creates this cycle where my daughter is moving towards lifeguarding, and I look at that community of young people who are lifeguards there, and it all is part of contributing to a really great community. So we want to see music, we want to see arts, we want to see sports, we want to see facilities that are conducive to those things, tennis courts, pickleball courts, whatever it is. Youth want something to do. They want places to go. We know that there are people in the community willing to run those programs, teach youth how to do these things. I was part of a softball a couple years ago, and my daughter joined up. And these are the kinds of things that create a strong fabric in our community for parents of young kids to have what they need. You know, I see, for example, Boulevard downtown, and this goes back to the active transportation. Having that daycare downtown is so important as well. When you see those little young people going on their walks, a service like that contributes to a thriving downtown. And like I said, this all makes up part of the mosaic of what makes a place like ours really great to live in. And the municipality needs to continue to, and I would say, do better at communicating these programs, and also, you know, leaning more into that summer programming, because and there is a really great program that has been happening the last couple of years in partnership with the municipality. When you look at the free swimming pool, my kids take huge advantage of that, and those are good things happening in town. But we can get better with making sure that we communicate these things, making sure we continue to prioritize these things, because like anything, as I said, it is an investment in the future. We need to continue to retain the people who are here and attract more people, because just brass tacks, it makes sure that our taxes, speaking of brass taxes, the taxes remain low, and it's an important quality of life for every single person here. Okay, that is it. We want to see St. Stephen, number 3, be a place for youth and families. Thank you to the Youth Center for having me and the other candidates in yesterday. I feel very optimistic about our future. As I said to them yesterday, 10 years from now, you will be carrying the torch. You will be deciding, do you continue to live here? Again, I think about my kids perhaps going away for schooling of some sort, whether it's university or college, but I would love them to come back here. I would love them to raise a family here the way I am, because it's such a wonderful community to do that. But because of that uncertainty in my future, my kids growing up here, going to school here, getting work here, I am super interested in continuing to develop St. Stephen to be a place for recreation, for youth and young families, where we can all thrive together. All right, friends, buildupststephen.ca, that's my website. You can continue to read more about my priorities and my commitments, but again, every day I'll be rolling out until Election Day the 15 things that I think make us great and ways that we can get better with myself and your council in the next chapter. Take care of yourself today and your neighbor, and let's build up St. Stephen together. Cheers.